Now, Jaden got a lot to say. He had a lot to say right now.
All right, say something, Jaden. Tell us. We're still recording, so tell us. We might use this for a short.
So, number one, I don't know how these guys that I named are not in people's top 5. Let's start with Kyrie Irving. One,
Okay, Kyrie Irving.
he arguably gave LeBron another championship. That setback 3 against Curry, Game 7, NBA Finals 2016. He doesn't make that shot. That game's going to overtime. LeBron's having to carry that team and stuff, and Kyrie comes in clutch and helps him win that championship.
Yes.
That's what I gotta say. Also, in my opinion, best ball handler of all time. Amazing, layups. Number 4 for me, like I said, I had John Stockton. No argument there. Great passer. Great. I think he's like the most passer. And I don't know. I just don't understand how you have Jerry West and what did you say? Bob Cousy and
Bob Cousy. It's a different era. I realize that Bob Cousy revolutionized his position.
I think
now, if he played today, he's just an average nothing. But he played great in his day, and he's when he got 6 championships in 9 years.
Well, I think that's the thing. I'm picking up on 2 trends. Number one is that, where most of us are choosing players, in most cases, right? The majority of our list during the time when we first fell in love with the sport, right? So you can see the generational changes, from, Jaden's list and those lists. So everybody's list is definitely aligned with the players that they've seen and watched personally.
Absolutely.
And I think the other side of it is just that there are, and I've heard this on ESPN before, it's like, it's hard to say there's the greatest of all time. There might be the greatest of that time, right? That era. Right. And I think that's it, right? You had that early, iteration of NBA where Bob Cousy and, those guys were just amazing. And you move up the list and you got like Oscar Robinsons and some of those folks. And then, you get into the Magic era and he dominated at that point right there. The 90s was a little bit of a toss-up, right? Because I guess John Stockton would probably be the guy. And then you get into the, every 10 years, every decade or so, every generation, there's just the game changes, the game evolves, and it just becomes a new type of point guard. Because you think about the characteristics of a Steph Curry and the characteristics of a Bob Cousy, and it's just like they couldn't be more, different in the way they played the game. And it worked for that time. It's just times changed. Yeah.
And plus, Bob Cousy played back before they even had color film. It was all black and white. And they probably did 16 frames.
They didn't have a 3-point. They didn't have a 3-point. They didn't have a 3-point line back then.
There was no carrying. Total different game. I realized that. And that's what's hard too. You mentioned John Stockton. Man, he's one of the greatest ever. My criteria was championships, and unfortunately, he ran up against the Lakers at the time. There were some better teams, and that wasn't his fault. Another, some of who else is there? Can't think of his name, but some guys that were great, they didn't win the championship. Not their fault. They're on the wrong teams. And
no, there's a lot of great
teams. But anyway, just my scientific decisions. Yeah, Bob Cousy was up there just because of the number of championships, really. But I agree, Stockton's great.
Yes.
What else? What do you got, Noah? Anything else?
No.
Okay, Jaden, go ahead. Keep going. I'm right, but go ahead.
I think that summarizes it there. I think championships are not exactly. They definitely, that's the end goal at the end of the day. You play, 82 game season. You do all that stuff for the championship. That's what it is. But I also think there's more stuff when it comes to greatness. And I just feel like if you're in an era where there's like 5 good teams in the league and then you're winning like every year, like Bill Russell and stuff. I'm not having Bill Russell in my top 5. Like, that's just not something I'm gonna have. He played against people that, were like, basketball is the same thing. If you're tall, if you're 7 foot in the league where there's like not really fundamentals and stuff, yeah, you're gonna dominate. Like, so
that's my argument for like Bill Russell. It's like, people like, come on, man. Like, really? You run off 11, 13, whatever championships, 11 out of 13 years. It wasn't because you were that much better than everybody else. Like, you just had a guy that was just that much more dominant. Imagine putting Shaq in the middle of a team that had a losing season in 1963, or imagine what he would do the next year as the center. He'd crush him. It's just
He would have killed everybody in the other
That's
team,
my
right?
point. That's why I've always
He would dominate.
questioned
Yes.
the whole, Walt, what is it, Chamberlain and
Will Chamberlain.
guys, it's like Will Chamberlain. I'm sorry, it's like 100 points. Yeah, try that in 2005 or 2015 or any 2000. Try that in 1996. You ain't getting nowhere close to that. I have more respect. Put some respect on my name. I have more respect for Kobe Bryant's 82, JD? 81 points than I do for the 100 points that Chamberlain had, because it was a much more diverse, balanced league. Every team just had a significantly better roster, more athleticism, more fundamental skills that had been developed over that time period. So I don't know.
Yeah, man. Will Chamberlain was when he did his 100. That was in Hershey Park. So I don't even know. How serious that game was in Hershey Park. So it's a different era.
Will
Chamberlain might have
was
played today. Chamberlain was an incredible athlete. He played volleyball, he was a track star.
I'm not taking away from him.
He would have adjusted to this league.
Yeah.
I don't know about Cousy would have, but at the time he was revolutionary.
Yeah.
You're good.
Everyone else was dribbling like this, and Cousy was doing behind the back. Yeah, everything's different too. When I was in high school playing, well, that's way back there too. You couldn't go to camps, basketball camps. If you dribble like this, you couldn't even dunk the basketball. There are different rules, so games change. I know that.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I could have been a contender, but no, I had to play back in the dark ages.
I love it. Love it.
Down it.
All right, anything else?
I think we're good.
Nothing.
That pretty. Okay.